This NBA Playoff Picks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. Get started today and you'll get a risk-free bet up to $500. Terms and conditions apply. Get the details at wynnbet.com and download the app today. We're also brought to you by Coors Light. When you're sweating out your bets, remember to take some time to chill and grab the perfect cold refreshment, Coors Light. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's #1 way to buy and sell sports bets. Use promo code SGP on your first deposit and receive up to $500 in bonus cash. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by the SGPN app. Our app is now live in the App Store and Google Play Store. The SGPN app gives you easy access to all our picks podcasts, and it's the exclusive place to enter all our contests, including our $1,000 NBA Finals free roll. Just enter SGPN in the App Store or Google Play Store. Woo! Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer Dog?
Shit, I thought we were doing a random USFL, CFL episode. I wore my Toronto Argonaut shirt. I'm all confused. All right, got it. NBA playoffs.
NBA playoffs are here. Oh, man, NBA. Just play the music. Let's get into it. NBA. We're going to be talking Bucks, Nets with our buddy Ty from the Hero Step podcast. Also talking Sixers, Hawks with Dave Sharapan, a.k.a. BK Sportsbook Consig. But really, of course, NBA Hoops brought to you by WynnBET.com, the official presenting sponsor of the Sports Gambling Podcast. Head over to WynnBET.com. Get in over there right now for your $500 risk-free bet. It's so easy. Again, terms and conditions apply, but it's a $500 risk-free bet. There's so much NBA action going on. Still on a relative hot streak, Ryan. We may have cooled the Clippers off. We'll see. But again, we're going to be giving out a ton of parlays, player props. They got it all over at WynnBET.com. Spin that parlay wheel for that sweet parlay boost. WYNNBet.com if you want to WIN. Let's go, baby. Jacked up.
Round ball rock, blue balls. Oh, my God.
Round ball rock, blue balls.
Oh.
We talked about it on the last podcast we did, but kind of a nightmare scenario for the Clippers game, going to it. Food was a disaster. The COVID vaccine line, it was just kind of a complete nightmare. What was pretty funny, though, was how many Lakers fans were talking shit to Clippers fans. Like, there was a lot of Lakers jerseys at the Clippers-Mavs game, which was pretty funny.
It is LA.
And a lot of chippy Lakers fans going at the Clippers fans. Even some of the ushers and stuff were very obviously pro-Lakers. And it was just so funny watching that Lakers-Suns game and knowing all those people were really, really sad.
Yeah,
and
tough.
LeBron James
got killed.
And he got killed, and there was some serious. I mean, I don't know what Contavious Caldwell Pope, what he's been, if he's into older women. There was certainly a dynamic of LeBron James not giving a shit.
I'm so glad
late in the game, not even running down the court, like hanging out. He had like a defensive 3 seconds because he was in the cylinder on the opposite end of the court. He should have been called for that. It's crazy the lack of effort we saw out of them. Congrats to Moonoff the Machine. He was all over the Sun series. I also had the Sun series. And shout out to Ryan McKee, who RFB, Rich Fat Baby, lives and dies for the Suns. So he's got to be stoked.
Phoenix sports, Arizona sports, really on the rise. Right?
They are. It's it's a good time to be a Suns fan. Man, that was it did feel like they're not going to get another game. That was pretty shocking that the Lakers, LeBron didn't have one. Put the team on my back, going to carry the team. It felt like we just kept waiting for it, right?
I think it's because he realized that we all had the Suns to win in 7. And LeBron's he does not lose well. When you're the greatest ever, you don't lose a lot, but goddamn does he you want to talk about a guy who has a hilarious highlight reel of losing poorly?
He is not a body language Hall of Fame player. Like, he doesn't.
I mean, again, under the microscope and all, but it's never a good look when they lose, but look, this is great. This is great. We have a situation where the major markets are being just absolutely slaughtered. And you have a situation.
Great for the conspiracy theorists.
Utah, Denver, Phoenix, and either LA or Dallas, so that's a big market.
Yeah, but it's the Clippers in
Philly,
LA.
Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn, who no one gives a shit about the Nets anyway.
I think right now, and this is why I'm optimistic as a Sixers fan, the NBA needs the Sixers and those TV numbers. Because, people will watch the Nets, I guess, but I feel like they kind of turn people off, and it's Brooklyn. They don't have that home fan base to carry them. The Sixers get in. Philly's going to be, the ratings are going to be through the roof.
LA, Philly? Is that the
LA,
angle?
Philly. That would be.
And NBA Sean gets to go see an NBA Finals game with his team, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, the usher who is fine bringing us a bottle of Jameson, but not bringing a sandwich because they can't do food right now.
Nope.
For some reason, he said food is coming in a month, so maybe in a month we'll be there watching Clippers Sixers NBA Finals, and I'll be eating food.
In fairness, not everyone representing the Clippers was a pain in the ass that night. Did get to meet Clipper Darrell for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. Shout out to Clipper Darrell.
Yeah, if you don't know Clipper Darrell, he's a guy who became famous just because he liked the Clippers. That's how few Clippers fans there are.
Yeah.
He was just like, hey, I'm a big fan, and he became Clipper Darrell.
I can tell you, I moved out to LA in 2004, and the Clippers were trash. And so that was the easier way to see the Knicks play. So every year I'd see the Knicks play the Clippers. And Clipper Darrell was just the guy who sat in the lower bowl, also sat in the lower bowl because no one went to the game. And he was like, before they had the dance team and the DJ, it was Clipper Darrell running the chants in the corner. So, met a Clipper, maybe the only. Is he the only Clipper legend?
Yeah, who's another Clipper legend? I guess Chris Paul, but yeah. Exactly.
Clipper Darrell's outlasted all of them.
He did. He's the only thing that's sticking around with the Clippers through and through. Well, you may as well call me Sixers Sean. And Sixers are in. I get a little stressed out. There'll be moments. Joel Embiid, his injury stressed me out. Needed a moment to chill. Needed a moment to relax. Thankfully, I just crack open an ice cold Coors Light whenever I need to just feel like it's a go-go world. You're tied to your phone, the emails, whatever. You want to feel like you're in the Rocky Mountains. And what better way to feel like you're in the Rocky Mountains than with some Rocky Mountain refreshment, a.k.a. an ice cold Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Oh, and it's awesome. We just restocked the mini fridge at the bar.
It's loaded.
We got the brand new cans with the shades on. Again, people like talking about Los Angeles because you can be at the beach and in the mountains in the same day.
Yep.
The beach and the mountains, both awesome places to enjoy Coors Light. Coors Light, of course, is the one I choose when I need to unwind. So when you want to hit the reset button, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light in the new look. Delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart or Colby. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And as always, celebrate responsibly. We're going to be a little late to the party here with this Clippers-Mavs Game 6 because of some scheduling stuff, Ryan. Still worth getting our official picks on the record. I can't remember seeing something that an NBA series like this where 5 games in, the home team has not won a game. You would think maybe the home teams do, but I'm going to take the Clippers again. I feel like I'm going to go chalky, but I'm going to go down with this Clippers ship. Clippers -3. They only put up 100 points, which is normally like back in the day, that would be a normal NBA score.
Yeah.
But they're pretty efficient on their looks. I mean, just watching it live, they were getting decent looks. The shots just weren't falling.
And strangely, Luka and that Dallas team seems to be a little bit more fiery.
Yeah.
On the road. It's a weird series, right?
I don't understand the dynamic, but I'm not going to fade it. I'm just going to keep taking the road team to win and cover.
They say a series doesn't start until the road team wins. Well, in this series, like the home team is just getting kicked in the nuts repeatedly. I think it continues, right? Like, isn't this just got to be poetic? Like also the NBA. Like the NBA kind of needs this. We just highlighted all the small markets.
They need a game 7.
Game 7, Luka, Kawhi. Not a lot of fans passionate in the building, but they're
not gonna move a lot of concessions. But
look, we were up on the suite level, and I think the people to our left and right were rooting for the Mavs. So I think it's an opportunity for the.
There was an equal amount of Lakers and Clippers fans at the Staples Center. I can say that 100%. But the Clippers, they actually played some pretty good defense against the Mavs, all things considered, held them to 105 points. They just needed some shots to fall.
And honestly, if Man drops that layup at the end of the game, like, it's a completely different situation. Like, they were very close to having it in the bag, and a kid missed a layup.
Yeah,
really.
and it sounds like a cliche, but I think with this Clipper team in particular, the fact that they're facing elimination should be a big enough wake-up call. And Ty Lue, come on, like, rally the troops. What's your take on Paul George this series? Because I feel like watching him live, you look at his numbers, the numbers were good, but I didn't feel like just watching him, he didn't have a huge impact on the game.
I would say being in the building, I didn't feel like either guy ever made it about him stepping up to, like, figure it out. I think at times Kawhi tried to and just wasn't hitting his shot. And, really, like, both guys were kind of deferring. You didn't see a ton of Kawhi saying, give me Luka, let me shut him down. Like, they were trying, like, Rondo was on him. It was a weird game because being in the building, my takeaway was, damn, I want to see Luka again. This dude's really good. The whole game, he only didn't score when he missed.
Yeah.
He got his shot every single
so
time.
So smooth, too.
So I don't know if they were just trying to rest Kawhi or what, but, like, someone that's not Rajon Rondo, like, I get it.
When Rondo was guarding Luka, you just wanted to call a timeout and be like, what are you doing?
If there's something, old man, that I've really gotten to the point of, like, hating, it's the fact that, like, we can't overcome a switch. We can't overcome the most obvious thing that's coming, a high screen that's going to lead to a lazy switch. And that is how Dallas runs their offense, and then Luka can do whatever the fuck he wants from there. It's pathetic. And Ty Lue needs to, again, show him that tape of the Bulls putting Tony Kukoc in a goddamn locker and be like, just do this. If he can't drive to the basket, they're not going to do shit. Now, we'll say, his passing, I hate when there's nothing worse than listening to a guy like Bill Simmons praise Larry Bird for how good of a passer he is, but Luka can really fire it from the hip to the corner, perfect shooting pocket, good shot, made basket. All right. I'm also on the
You're just going to take
I'm on the Clippers.
Clippers -3.
By the way, my ebbs and flows weren't all in tune in the last couple game sixes, so
yeah. Got a little cold, although I think our against the spread record's still pretty strong. I'm looking at what we gave out. Yeah, I hit Suns +2.5, and Sixers -6. Sixers -6 was my lock. My dog was here's what I gave out lock dog series last episode, Ryan. Lock Sixers -6.
Great.
Dog Suns money line.
Great.
And wild card spicy pick Ben Simmons +600.
Awesome.
Let's go, baby.
Which yeah, I mean, another adjusted spread for me with Utah -14.5.
You just play. You're the adjusted spread god, Ryan.
Oh, so is that what I should give out for? No, we're gonna
save it for the end. We're gonna close it out with the lock, dog, and series price. We're gonna talk Bucks and Nets with Ty Windisch from the Hero Step podcast in just a minute. But Ryan, we're bringing it back. Real Men of Degens.
Yes.
This time presented by PropSwap. Make sure you go to PropSwap.com. Use that promo code SGP. Get up to $500 in bonus cash when you sign up over there.
I'm in a heated bidding battle right now for a ticket.
Yes, and you can buy tickets. I bought a Sixers ticket for $75. Pretty good value on what you could normally get at a sports book. And also, honestly, like, hey, maybe you're in a state or whatever, you can't get to sportsbook. Just get some action on PropSwap. There's a bunch of tickets, all different prices, very easy to use, and it's a great opportunity to buy low, sell high, especially with I'm kind of touting here, but I do think the Sixers are going to get past the Hawks, and then that Sixers championship price those odds are going to change dramatically once they knock the Hawks off, right? That's all.
Love it. You know what? Love it.
Love it. All right, here we go.
NBA shot.
Real Men of Degens presented by PropSwap.
SGPN presents Real Men of Degens. Real Men of Degens. Degens. We salute you.
Sean Green. That's right. I'm nominating myself for the Real Men of Degens. Actually, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll
Ryan told me to nominate myself because as this Monday, instead of just staying on the edge of a mountain with a flat tire, no, I dug deep. I put on a spare tire that was not meant for off-roading, drove it out simply so I could come all the way back to Los Angeles, traveled through the desert. I was parched. I was dreaming of a Coors Light, but really I was dreaming of some Degen only action because I knew I had to get back so I could do our live random best ball draft. I risked my life for you, the listeners, to provide content.
Wow.
And again, if you're involved in prop swap, it's all about buying low, selling high. The stock of Sean Green as a Degens only through the roof.
People were trying to liquidate their will Sean get out of the remote area tickets, and you would have made a lot of money buying low there.
PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. Joining us on the line, host of the Hero Step podcast on Blue Wire Podcast, Ty Windisch. Ty, what's happening? How are your Bucks? You got to be pretty excited as a Bucks fan. Nice revenge sweep of the Heat, right?
It was beautiful. I mean, we worked cackles into every single post-game pod. I just got a second. That pronunciation of Eurostep, that's a new one. I said before we started recording, I've heard like 4 different. Now I've heard 5 different. We might have to change it to that. Although I don't even know if I can pull that off. So maybe not.
Well, Renaissance man Sean Green with the classy accent there.
I
first changing a tire on your own. Now you're an international man of mystery.
What did it? I had a gym teacher who is Greek. And Mr. Kazakis. And he would get, if he heard you mispronouncing Hero, he would, he also not a great relationship with the gym teacher. He actually gave me a B- in gym because I damaged a ping pong ball. And I was like, I was playing ping pong. First off, why we were playing ping pong in gym class, I have no idea. But he said I was abusive to the ping pong ball. Needless to say, he drilled that into me. But yeah, Kramer and I, before we had you on, and I think even a little bit before we started the show, this is an all-time podcast name where you combine Gyro because of course of the Greek Freak and the Euro Step. Right? Am I getting that right?
No, you're right on target. 100% correct. Yeah, it's I don't know if it counts as a signature move. I think Giannis' signature move might just be dunking all over everybody, but that one at least has a name, so we figured we'd borrow it for the podcast.
No, that's great. The only what if and God forbid, what if he ends up moving on? And you have this awesome name? What do you do then? Have you let your mind go there?
You know, Thanasis Antetokounmpo on the team. We'd have to see if he sticks around or not. We'll see what TA does, but I think we were getting a little sweating before we re-signed this year. We would have had to do a new name. I think we've agreed if he wins a title here, we probably just keep it at that point in honor, and we can move on. I don't even want to think about the inverse. I'm not going to put myself in that headspace. Excuse me.
No, you don't need to. Hey, you guys are coming off a 4-0 sweep of the Heat. I thought it would be a much livelier series, but it seemed like after that game 1, maybe the Bucks were still kind of in their head, maybe a little tense. They get the OT win, and then it was just all downhill from there. What were your expectations coming into the first round?
Yeah, it was funny. People thought I was being a little excessive with my prediction. I said Bucks in 5, and I ended up being off by a game. I expected to be off by a game the other way, but you know, that Heat team just wasn't the same. They just didn't have the big depth. They didn't have especially at power forward. I mean, you look at guarding Giannis. I think a lot of people, I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people remember how great Jay Crowder was shooting the 3 ball in that series last year. And he made like 22 threes in 5 games, which is probably the most Jay Crowder's ever made in his life over a 5-game span. Yeah. But his defense on Giannis was great too. And losing him really hurt Miami. They didn't have the dogs. And of course, this Bucks team, adding Drew Holiday, adding a real potent combination of bench players in Bryn Forbes and Bobby Portis. That team has more shooting. It's so much harder now to focus on Giannis. I think a tweet going around Bucks Twitter today was basically like, how were the Bucks on pace to win whatever many games last year with Eric Bledsoe and Wes Matthews as their starting backcourt? You switch out one for Drew Holiday. Dante DiVincenzo obviously now hurt for the other one. It's been quite the upgrade. So game one, the Bucks shoot 5 for 31 from deep, and it really just felt like even if Jimmy and Bam play better the rest of the series, if the Bucks shooting regresses to normal, it probably won't matter. And it turned out Jimmy and Bam didn't play that much better. The Bucks did shoot a lot better, though.
Yeah.
And Sean, had you been a good teammate, you could have started this segment by saying Ryan really nailed it.
He did. Ryan was all over
the
it.
Heat were the team that gained the most from no fans, and the Bucks were a team, even with limited fans in the building, it mattered. And yeah, I think we saw it. So two of us on this show got it right, Sean.
And it's kind of, it's pretty hilarious that both the Heat and the Lakers already knocked out.
And the Knicks.
Maybe there's
big markets are getting sniped left and right.
Maybe there is a little asterisk now on that bubble title with them getting knocked out in the first round. I mean, the Lakers losing to the Suns, but the Heat getting swept.
Well, the sympathists will say it was a long season.
Quick turnaround.
They're already working the narratives. No, this is the asterisk season because these teams didn't get rest. Okay, sure it is.
Yeah, come on. But Jay Crowder, him celebrating and getting in LeBron's head for the Suns, that was just fun to watch. That was a great game. But getting back to the Bucks, of course, now huge matchup against the Nets. Looking over at WinBet, the series price, the Nets are laying a game and a half, -200 to win the series. Bucks +160 on the price there. Total 5.5 games. As far as game one, though, we'll dive deeper into game one. Bucks getting 4 points as they head to Brooklyn. Over/unders 239.5. What do you think? What do you think about the long rest for the Bucks coming into Brooklyn? And Brooklyn, it's got to be a pretty scary matchup right now because we saw kind of what obviously the big three can do offensively. What do you think the keys are to Bucks victory?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to be so aggressive scoring the basketball. I think the Bucks are maybe the best team to match up with the Nets because they have so many perimeter defenders. Losing DiVincenzo really does hurt, but you still have Drew Holiday, obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo, who the Bucks flipped the script, and he went from primarily being a help defender in years past to all of a sudden he's covering Jimmy Butler the whole series, and Jimmy Butler was unable to score against him. Obviously, a lot harder to cover Kevin Durant or really any of the three guys than Butler because he just refuses to shoot now, but Giannis is no longer a help defense only piece, right? Like he's going to be used. I would assume he picks up a lot of time on KD, and then PJ Tucker, who's maybe starting, maybe coming off the bench. We'll see. So the Bucks have perimeter defenders to slow down those guys, but as you mentioned, the scariest big three, I think purely offense only that we've ever seen, right? Like I don't think we've ever seen just on offense 3 players who have the skill sets those guys have. So as much as what is there? Do we disagree?
No, I was gonna say, and it's funny because if you watched him come off the bus, like it's like really, this is the most dynamic threesome in the history of the NBA scoring the basketball. It's just, I don't know, this new look Harden. He just doesn't look like. When I watch the Nets, I see the price, and I am going to go against Utah. I do think the Nets, like the price in the series, I'm shocked, but when you say it out loud. If he is shutting down Durant, I suddenly love this because then we're essentially walking our way into a situation where I'm saying if I like the Nets, I think Kyrie has a big series. Well, and I never want to put money on Kyrie showing up to work night in and night out. So I'm suddenly, Sean, I told you yesterday I thought I was going to be on the Nets, and maybe I'm just getting some bias here, but I'm slowly walking the other way because if Durant is shut down, I suddenly love the perspective of the Nets just laying eggs. Because in a weird way, he's the guy I trust the most.
The more I did a little deeper dive going through the matchups.
And fuck the Nets.
Yeah, which they're really a tough team to root for in any sort of non-gambling sense.
We have ties to the great state and the Bratstadt.
Shout out to Kenosha, Wisconsin.
So it just feels right. And I apologize to anyone who got early money down on the Nets because I'm going the other way, Sean. And I will say, play the marketplace because, like you said, Sean, I don't know if this is popped up to you. -1.5 on the series, only 5.5 games for the total. There is some juice there. But you can play some opportunities where you just take over 5.5 in the series, because I don't see this being a short series one way or another.
No, I mean, that's what I was going to get to as far as my best bet is that the series goes over 5.5 games. I think that, to me, is the easiest thing to call.
I was really waiting to see the confidence of Ty and the way that he postured. He told us a narrative. He told us a story that said, hey, our guy shut down the other guy in the last round, and it's going to happen again.
Well, here's the thing.
And that's alpha speak right there.
And I appreciate that. I like his handicap. To me, I'm looking at this as I think Giannis and Durant kind of cancel each other out. I actually think Drew Holiday is going to play really well defensively, and I think he's going to slow Kyrie Irving down. So if you're looking for like player props, I actually like the under on points for Kyrie, especially in game one, or even for the series, depending on where you can get things, and maybe even Durant. But I think I just don't know who on the Bucks guards James Harden. That to me, who do you think are they going to lock one guy on him? Are they going to rotate different people through? Because I think Harden is going to be the key to getting the Nets a victory here.
Yeah, I think they're going to rotate waves of defenders on all three of the big three. I think they're really comfortable with a lot of the Bucks wing players guarding Harden and KD. I actually think Kyrie is the toughest one. I think Drew is going to start there. Well, they just don't have that many guys who are that little, you know? Like, I think PJ Tucker, you know, he's strong. I think he defended Booker well at the end of the infamous Bucks-Suns games with the phantom foul on him. But I don't want him chasing around Kyrie for a whole series. So I think Drew's going to find a lot of time there, which is good for your Kyrie under, because whoever Drew is guarding is just going to have a tough time. But I do think there's going to be waves of defenders thrown. And even if the Bucks can't shut down those guys, I like the Bucks' chances to defend the Nets a lot better than the Nets' chances to defend the Bucks. I mean, you look at this roster and who they're going to be asking to guard Giannis. They haven't doubled much in the regular season. We'll see if that changes. But this should be a parade to the rim for the Bucks. That's what it needs to be for them to beat the Nets, because I think you can only do so much about some of those Brooklyn offensive guys, but you can certainly score a whole lot.
Well, and that's, I mean, you see it in the line, 239.5 for a total, Sean. I mean, some old folks are falling out of their rocking chair off their porch and getting run over by.
Don't let Colby hear about what's happened to the game these days with these
300 points in a playoff game. What? Look, again, I think you circle back to the idea that, do you really want to like lean into a position where you're going to rely on Kyrie? Do you want, as a person, as a player? No. I don't want to be in any of those positions. And I think if the Bucks can take advantage of the rest somehow and steal one,
well, and that's a good...
I assume we're getting more fans, right? Because each round in the playoffs, the NBA finds a way to like let more fans in the building.
Yeah,
right?
And it seems like it. Well, and they can do whatever they want COVID restriction wise. They're not getting fans in the building in Brooklyn. Did you see they were having like 2-for-1 night? The first time these Brooklyn fans, quote unquote fans, have gotten to see this big three, and they have to like discount the tickets so much. It's crazy. To me, though, I actually think, and it's really coming together here, I think the move is over 5.5 for the series, because I do think it gets to 6 or 7. And if I like that, then I think you got to take Milwaukee plus 1.5 on the series price games-wise. I don't know if I like them enough to take them 160 outright, and I don't know if there's enough value on the Nets at minus 200, because them being a 2-1 favorite from what we've seen out of Milwaukee seems a little crazy to me. I do like Brooklyn minus 4, however, in the first game. I think they've just been so hot shooting-wise and dialed in flow-wise. I think there is a real chance for Milwaukee to steal game 2, but game 1, I'm going to take Brooklyn minus 4. Ty, what do you think of those two games in Brooklyn? What do you think they have a better shot of stealing, game 1 or game 2?
You know, I hate to not have a hot take here. I really think it might just come down to shooting variance. Like, you talked about the Nets basically having James Harden subsidized tickets so they could get people in that building, which is wild considering it's New York City and the caliber of player that are there. But I don't think Barclays is going to be a super imposing environment for the Bucks really at any point in the series, which is an advantage. I think people think the Fiserv Forum is not super loud. I don't think Barclays is going to act like, either of the Gardens or Oracle or wherever else. I mean, Oracle's broken down now. But I think I could see them taking either game, though. I think they need one of these first two. I think winning game one would be so huge for Milwaukee. I do wonder if they'll need part of a game to get back into rhythm, though, after the long layoff. So I think I feel a little better about game two, but it'll be super interesting to me just to see who's guarding who on both sides. And
no,
are the Nets sticking with Blake? There's so much intrigue.
And if you think that, you almost wait. You don't take plus 160 right now because the price will go up even if Brooklyn just holds serve. Nets win game one, Bucks win series. That's five.
Those are always fun.
That's 5-1, Sean. But let's go to another 5-1, or actually 550, which is Bucks win in 6. And we know this formula, right? That's when they win it at that home game because that's the critical moment. They maybe steal one of these first two like you're describing. So that's going to be the play that I would recommend, Sean. If I'm going to get down on the Bucks, I see no value in just taking the plus 160 when I can grab Bucks in 6 at plus 550. Because again, right? What are the scenarios where they're winning in 4 or 5?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't see Nets on a complete blank.
And you can triple your bet, Sean. We like that over here.
Well, I mean, again, the 1.5. I know it's a little softer. It's not your mega whale giant dog, but the 1.5. All they got to do is get to a game 6, which I just don't see how that doesn't happen. And then well, I guess if they lost game 6. Either way, I think the 1.5 is the way to go. Because if it does go to a game 7, you're covered.
I will say there's nothing more fake than buying the 1.5 in one of these series bets. Because really, you're just if you lose, it's got to go to 7. So it's really not you're not catching that many extra outs. But
that's true.
So maybe if you want to be bold, Sean, you just take the minus 1.5 at plus 250.
Ooh. I'll stick with the plus 1.5 for now.
We've gone full Bucks.
Yeah.
Full Are you
buying into Buck culture? What about you, Ty? Are you a guy who bets on his own team? What do you like? Game 1? Maybe there's a player prop that sparks your fancy. A guy we haven't hit on. What do you like getting down on as a Bucks insider?
I don't bet on the Bucks themselves. I just feel like, if they lose and I bet on them, what do I feel like? And I'll never get betting against the team. Maybe in the regular season,
I can't do that.
If you're paying close attention, but still, that's just bad karma. So
yeah.
I'm not betting on them. I would like the overs on a lot of these games, I think. What'd you say the first one was?
239.5.
Yeah, which is insane, but how do you take the under?
No, break it down, right? Because, what is the scenario where the Bucks don't score 120 in this game?
Well, yeah, that would have been over three times or very close to 4 times. 2 times, but very close to 4 in the Boston series when Boston's offense was like Jason Tatum and a bunch of role players nobody knows. I was going to say under in game 1 and then over from there just because I think I could see some rusty shooting, but I might just go over every time if they're not going to make the numbers ridiculous. And we know Brooklyn's going to score. I don't think Brooklyn's going to play any defense either.
And you could, if you are just trying to focus and attack that Nets defense, you can start taking the Bucks team total, which I would assume is implied to be right around that 120 mark in this one.
Yeah, it would probably be
118.
Something like that. Right
Again,
around 118.
No defense. It is fun to take the over. All of these line up. And, it's not the worst thing when your team loses when you got money on them. Because then you hate the team.
Well,
you blame the team, and somehow the guilt comes off of you. And then it becomes this horrible, bad relationship thing.
I feel safe betting my team as a dog.
Yeah, there you go.
Because then there's nothing worse than when your team wins and they don't cover and you're like, oh, God. Yeah. But whereas if I bet... if the Eagles lose, I feel like garbage and want to die anyway. So a couple $100 doesn't matter. That's already I've lost all concept of money. Money has no meaning when you're down. But when they win, then it's icing on the cake and they're a dog and you get plus odds. So I like taking my team as a dog. But unfortunately, Sixers not a dog. Look out, Ty, because if the Bucks pull it off against the Nets. Feeling good about my Sixers moving on.
NBA Sean has a new rival.
And not to look too far ahead and to jinx it, but between the Hawks and the Sixers,
come on.
You got to be
rooting. This isn't a real question.
You got to be rooting for the Hawks, right? Or am I missing something?
if Embiid is healthy, then you certainly would rather see the Hawks. I actually do think the Bucks probably match up more comfortably with the Sixers, even though they're better, just because there's less perimeter threats. There's a little less shooting, and I think the way Milwaukee likes to play with Brook Lopez in the paint whenever possible and, dropping and sending help, it's a lot easier to do that against a team with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, as great as he is, than it is against the Hawks, who are like Clint Capella and Trae Young and a bunch of dangerous offensive players. That said, if Embiid looks like Embiid, you'd rather not play the MVP runner-up guy. And Joel Embiid might have won it if he plays more games this year, although Jokic was awesome. I don't know if they've officially announced it. We all know Jokic is winning, though. But I think as long as Embiid is good to go, you'd rather see the Hawks.
Sean, I thought you were going to...
Yeah.
Breaking news.
I thought we were going to catch a sound drop because there's nothing you like more than the Joker.
Oh, yeah. We have a new Joker sound effect.
What a joker.
Some Australian guy. I don't know why. Anytime I think of Jokic now, I have to play that, and it goes off in my head. I was going to say breaking news. We've announced he has won NBA MVP.
There we go.
So we're ahead of the market.
Let's get that out on social.
We're here to break some news. All right. Well, Ty, appreciate you calling into the podcast. Make sure you give Ty a follow on Twitter at Ty Windisch, WINDISCH, and Ty TI, and check out the Hero Step podcast on Blue Wire Podcast. Ty, appreciate it, and go Bucks, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Go Bucks, and hopefully we all have some extra cash as the Bucks head to play your Sixers in the next round.
Let's go. Oh, man, we got a little we're giving away so much at SGPN. Why not give out a little bit more? Big news now on digital. Milo Gibson and Lawrence Fishburne star in Under the Stadium Lights, an inspirational true story of a small-town high school football team who fought to beat the odds to turn their lives around and win their state championship. Score your copy of Under the Stadium Lights. Buy or rent it today, rated PG-13 from Paramount Pictures. And we're actually giving away some free digital codes for you guys to see Under the Stadium Lights. All you got to do to enter is drop us a tweet at Gambling Podcast saying which sports movie character you think Kramer or I would be. If we were in a sports movie that's already out, who do you think we would be? I know who I want you guys to nominate, but we'll pick some of our favorites. We got 5 codes to give away, so send us a tweet at Gambling Podcast. 5 lucky listeners will get those digital codes. Give us a tweet, and best of luck. Joining us on the line, Dave Sharapan, a.k.a. at SportsBKConsig on Twitter. He does a million podcasts, million shows, VSIN, his own podcast, Cash Considerations, among many others. One of the busiest mans in the gambling space. Dave, how you doing today?
Guys, I'm great. I don't know if I'm as good as you guys, though. Look at that background. That studio is looking tremendous.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing there.
Hustle recognizes hustle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to keep up with Dave. We got to keep up with the Joneses. Dave's out there doing all sorts of shows. We're like, oh man, we got to step our game up.
Yeah.
Keep up with Dave.
Yeah, we got to. At some point, we're probably going to end up linking up. Who knows how or when? But I think eventually it's got to happen.
One day, the forces will combine.
Yeah, and then it'll be scary, and then it'll be all over. Please don't make me wear any of that Eagle shit, please. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. I just don't want to wear.
Well, see, yeah, and I brought you on because I know you're trashing the Eagles, but you're a Sixers fan, right? I mean, come on.
Oh, I love the Sixers. I love the song. I got
the song is great.
Ticket. I got a 20-1 ticket on them to win it all.
Oh wow! When did you get the 20-1? Or did you say you got it preseason?
Yeah, right before the season started, late September. I was talking to one of my dear friends from Philadelphia. He's like, "Can you explain the odds to me?" And I said, "No, I really can't." When I looked at the roster, and getting Doc was really the key for me. I was like, they got a coach, and we're going to be okay. So I took a shot. You know, it's nothing major, but it's something. and now they're the number 1 seed. It's great.
Yeah, number 1 seed, home court throughout. They're letting the fans back in Philadelphia.
And the resurgence of NBA Sean.
Yes.
A true NBA fan.
NBA Sean coming out of the closet.
Putting the Eagles jersey down for a little midsummer date with the 76ers.
The Eagles jerseys still stay up, but I ordered an Embiid jersey. Although, and this is probably not a great premonition, but I ordered the Embiid jersey because we're going out in Vegas, going to do a couple days hanging out over at the Circus Stadium Swim, doing some live broadcasts there. June 14th, June 15th. I'm like, I got to get an Embiid jersey to rock on these live streams.
Mush.
And between when I ordered it and I haven't even gotten it yet,
Kramer.
Embiid's knee flares up. Where are you at with Embiid's knee? Because it doesn't seem bad, but it never seems that bad with him,
Now that I know this information, and Kramer, DM me next time he does this, like he orders something like without you. This is like jumping on a craps table that's really hot. And
Yeah.
Going, now I want to bet the pass line 7-0. Jesus, what are you doing? I can't even believe that this was allowed to happen. Like you just say, you know what? Let me wear the Eagles stuff. I wear the Eagles stuff all the time.
Yeah, I know.
I'll wear the Eagles stuff at the pool. Now you got the shirt coming. I can't even believe
You know what
it
it is?
was really amateur move.
Well, we have to pull back a secondary curtain. This is really the Eagles jerseys don't effectively show off all the work that Sean puts in at the gym.
Yeah.
So sun's out, guns out.
Exactly.
Needs the basketball you need for that kind of exposure. So now we've
fair
seen.
enough.
Embiid, I mean, we saw. Here's the thing. So it's a slight meniscus tear. Nothing major. Not going to need surgery. Day to day. The line comes out for game 1 -2.5. Do you think that number, Sixers -2.5, -140 on the money line? Of course, line's courtesy of our buddies over at WinBet. Now, do you think that's being priced with Embiid not starting? Certainly not Embiid healthy, right? Or do you think they're factoring in he's not going to play?
Game 1?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to play. I don't. I think the line would be like closer to 6, right?
Yeah.
5.5, 6 if he's playing. And you got to get ahead of it, in the book, because if he's going to play, all right, we can move it up. But if he's not going to play, taking all that dog money is terrible. So you got to put the dog line up first that he's not playing. And I mean, now that I know you're getting this jersey, he's not playing. If I could bet it, I'm going to bet the no, he ain't playing. But I did talk to somebody today on one of the shows who saw him warming up before the last game.
Yeah.
And this was a guy, I forget his name right now, Jimmy Patos on Twitter. He was a basketball coach for a long time in the ACC. Anyhow, he said he looked great. He goes, I don't know what kind of torn meniscus. It has to be a very slight tear, but he looked great. He went through a 20 to 25 minute warm up. But the thing he said he didn't do was he didn't run between foul line to foul line. And that's the thing with the knee that you got to worry about. Like if you could just park him on one end of the court and kind of throw him the ball or let him just play defense, okay. But you got to run back and forth. So I don't know, Sean. They can beat the Hawks without him.
Yeah.
It'd just be a way a lot easier if they had him in there. That's
and I think probably the move is they're gonna sit him game 1, get a couple extra days of rest in, play him game 2. Especially if they lose game 1, he's definitely playing game 2.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I think we see him the rest of the series. I do think the game 1 -2.5 is priced with the idea that he's probably not playing.
Can I ask a crazy question? Because it seems like all the pricing makes sense, except for when I look at Atlanta Hawks to win game 1, Sixers win series, plus 350. They're only 2.5 point favorites. I think no one would be surprised if the Hawks stole one and then the Sixers kind of steadied the ship and Embiid comes back. I don't think anyone truly believes they're going to lose to the Hawks. Nate McMillan, a great coach, kind of feeling like we're nearing his ceiling.
Yeah.
And I'm still butthurt about the Knicks. I reinvested raw emotion. So Sean, I like to come with these fun bets. I thought this is a nice angle here. You take Atlanta to kind of continue that momentum, steal one with Embiid maybe being banged up because you bought the jersey, and then obviously becoming then a nice bet to buy back. I doubt the price will reach plus 350.
No, and that's a great angle. If you like the Hawks, taking the Hawks to win game 1 and win the series at 350 is much better than just the series price. The series price is Hawks plus 160.
No, I'm saying Hawks win game 1. Sixers
win series is 350.
Because they're vulnerable here. And it's a massive discount on the Sixers series price, obviously.
That's actually a really good way to attack it, Kramer. I like it a lot, actually, because it's very possible that without Embiid, they do lose the game. Then he is okay. They play him. The series price gets adjusted, right, to the point if they lose game 1, it goes to what, a pick 'em? Probably. Yeah. They win game 2, they're still going to be favored even going to Atlanta. So there's never going to be a time unless they're down 3-0, which they're not going to be down 3-0. There's no way they're going to be down 3-0.
No, you're right. That right now. You're right, because
they're never going to be plus 350.
You're only cooked if Atlanta wins the series, basically.
And if Sixers lose, like you said, game 1, that series price is what, minus 120 at the But Dave's really saying maybe even a pick.
It stood out to me as maybe a mispriced opportunity for the Degens to take advantage of.
Yeah, get in on that. Yeah. So speaking of game 1, I do think I'm taking Sixers minus 2.5. Little homer play, little chalky play. We've seen, and we saw it, in the last game against the Wizards there, where Ben Simmons comes out, he's driving to the lane, he's getting aggressive. They're not doing the hack of Simmons because he's driving to the lane, he's hitting some of his free throws. I think him, and I think what we've seen out of Maxey, the rookie, has been really nice. Tobias, a great shooter at home. Little worried about maybe Trae Young going off, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Simmons guards him for points, at least to cool him off and slow them down. How do you see game 1 shaking out, Dave?
I saw the total 220 to 221. I thought it was a little low, to be perfectly honest. I thought that was a little light. I lean over. I think the game will play out like the Sixers games have played out against the Wizards, where you're going to see some, big spurts, but you're then going to see the second half adjustments. I mean, I think that's all Doc. Like, the teams don't really – they struggle to get to the basket or score points, like, for long stretches of time. So it's an in-game dream. I think even if the Sixers are down, you come back with them in the second half unless there's foul trouble. The only thing that's going to keep the Sixers, I think, from really winning the game in game 1 is the foul trouble, because now with Embiid, they don't have the depth.
Yeah, especially at the big man. If Dwight Howard,
that's trouble.
Yeah, if Dwight Howard gets in some foul trouble, who, again, I've killed Dwight Howard for years, made fun of him for years, but he's been, this season and even last year with the Lakers, he's providing good minutes. It's pretty crazy to me being on Team Dwight all of a sudden.
And I'm gonna step out on a limb. I think this is a fun game to play, to really take the total and just smash it up and down. You can go to 4-1 over 237.5 and 4-1 under 204.5. And because I think there's a version of this game where the Hawks just look like a completely different team, and they don't take their side of the scoring, and it ends up being a lower scoring game. And I think there's another version where the Hawks come in hot as shit, and the Sixers are chasing them, and there's a lot of points in the game. So again, I don't. What do you call the opposite of arbitrage? It's like the old heater bets or whatever they were called. But yeah, I'm gonna go
fire bets.
Fire bets. Yeah, we'll go under 204.5 over.
This is some Degen only, Ryan.
237.5.
Hashtag Degens.
I mean, look, the NBA is theater, man. At this point, we know who's gonna win and all that fun stuff. So you got to go deeper than that.
As the league turns.
Yeah, exactly.
It really does feel like that sometimes, where we get these dramatic, near-death experiences where they're close to having a moment of silence for Chris Paul. Next thing you know, he's coming out playing 100%. I mean,
hero music being blared.
I always try not to be the old man, get off my lawn, but certainly some of the antics that you see from these NBA players, It's like, come on, guys. We've all played pickup basketball. We know what a hard foul feels like. We're not, granted, it's another level. I get it. They're bigger, they're stronger, but they also can take more.
Blake Griffin went down with like 4 steps in the first round. It looked like he was shot from the rafters.
And Blake Griffin, all-timer of just back from the dead, didn't dunk, and then all of a sudden, now that he's on a decent team, getting the primetime games, he's dunking on back-to-back possessions. I don't know I don't know how that happens.
These knees aren't free, Sean.
No, these knees aren't free.
The only series without an injury question, fellas, is what? Denver and Phoenix.
Yeah.
But now Phoenix has, Paul. The Sixers have Embiid. What's the injury question with Brooklyn and the Bucks? I don't think there is one, is there?
Nothing
whether
major.
all 3 guys play.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not they're going to the pop-up strip club angle, maybe James Harden gets a little distracted.
So yeah, something going down in Brooklyn that gets
maybe
the beard
a
off
flat
the,
Earth
off the
Society meeting that Kyrie's a little distracted. And yeah, there's not much there.
All right, so for the Sixers series, I'm gonna again keep it chalky, keep it homery. Give me the Sixers minus 1.5 on the spread. Although I like your Hawks win 1 and win the series.
Thank you,
Dave. What do you like for the series here for Sixers Hawks?
I think Sixers win in 6.
Ooh, okay.
I think they're gonna win it in Atlanta, and that's just gonna be just because it's a Philadelphia thing to do, right? They should win it at home and play the song, and everybody will dance, and then we can call out either the Bucks or the Nets, and they'll be doing it in Atlanta, where hopefully they won't go to the strip clubs too much, but maybe they will. I don't know. I've heard Atlanta's got a pretty good
Atlanta has a
roster.
pretty good scene from what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard it as well. But yeah, let's go Sixers. 10-9, 8-7 Sixers. Sing the song, play the song. I'm all in. And JoJo is going to be okay.
Yes.
Whether he plays game 1 or not, I'll say no. But I think Kramer's on to something with this. Maybe if you lose game 1, you still win the series. And you get it at a price that just won't exist. I love it.
No, $350. That seems like the
literally
value there.
Creating wealth out of thin air. Sean.
You're doing it. You're doing it. You're getting people paid.
Like me and Doge, baby.
Well, Dave, always appreciate you calling on the show. And check out Dave on A Million Podcast, the Hammer Dan Podcast, Cash Consideration. Easiest way to keep up. Give him a follow on Twitter at
Great follow.
SportsBKConsig. Check him out and keep killing it, man. Appreciate you calling in.
You got it, boys. You keep doing the same. We'll be in touch, and I'm coming out to see you at some point. I want to hang out in that studio.
Oh yeah, we'll crack a beer, watch the Sixers.
Yeah.
Have a nice Coors Light. Hopefully they're still playing by then.
All right, I'll see you boys in Vegas.
All right, take it
Cheers.
easy, Dave.
Take it easy, guys.
Okay, Kramer, time for our lock dog. And not a tease, something spicy. I like going something spicy here, Ryan. I feel like if we had a chart, your spicy picks are through the roof.
We need a spicy update to the Lock Dog Spicy.
And again, I mentioned it in the pre-roll, but make sure you download the SGPN app. It's on the App Store, Google Play Store. Toss us a review. A 5-star review really helps the old rocket ship. And as a reward to you, the listeners and viewers, we are giving away $1,000 in our NBA free roll contest. The contest is super simple. All you do is what team you think is going to win the NBA Finals, how many games it's going to take them to do it, and how many points. So let's say you think the Nets are going to do it in 6 games, 1,500 points. The catch is you can only enter the contest via the app, and that's going to be the new thing moving forward, and that's one of the many reasons you should have the app. It's the exclusive place for all our contests, all our cash that we give out every year or throughout the year. You got to get it on the app, SGPN, App Store, Google Play Store. You can listen to the podcast. Easy way to look at the picks, all our posts. Hey, merch, easy access to buying some merch. It's all there, Kramer.
It's everything is there. It's a looking glass
Smorgasbord
into our own personal content machine.
There you go. And yeah,
there's no children in there working.
Give us those App Store reviews, man. Those are straight cash.
It's currency, right? Like it's free currency, right? Just throw a little bone.
All right, Kramer, what do you got for a lock dog and something spicy?
Oh, man. I mean, well, first of all, let me pull it up here. I think for a lock, I mean, are you making me pick a game? Because I don't even know if I feel like taking one of these games. You know what? Let's do this. Lock, Atlanta wins game 1. Sixers win the series. Dog, we're going to go Milwaukee in 6.
Okay, and that's
plus 550.
This is very spicy.
Actually, no. Make the Atlanta one my spicy.
Okay.
Make the Atlanta one my spicy, and then we're going to go over 5.5 in the Milwaukee Nets series.
Yeah, that's an easy.
That's a more reasonable lock. You know, for you 3% CD folks.
For my lock, keeping it simple, Sixers minus 1.5. I think they get it done in 6. But
what's your record betting on the Sixers as a lock?
Great. Okay. I think at least 2 or 3-0. I've had them in the lock. It's been great. No need to mess with it.
Don't mess with it.
For my dog, I'm gonna say it gets real chalky here in the NBA Game 1. Brooklyn -4, parlayed with Sixers -2.5. I've had good luck with making 2-team parlays my lock, so I'm going to keep that going. For something spicy, oh, man, what do I do here?
I'll give out. Well, I'll just remind people of a second spicy thing to do while you're thinking about it, Sean. For that Hawks Sixers Game 1, do the crazy spread. Under 204 is 4-1, and over 239 is 4-1.
You know what? I'm gonna say I'm gonna ride your under 204. I think that is the more likely of the two. I think we get an ugly, grinded out game.
204.5. Give yourself
okay. 204.5 a plus 400. That feels pretty spicy indeed.
I like this spicy thing. Is it at all mocking Taco Tuesday and LeBron's fandom of it? Could be.
Yeah. No. I mean LeBron. Oh, what a sad way to go out round 1. R.I.P. LeBron.
Rest in peace, bro.
Again, get that app, SGPN, App Store, Google Play Store. Lock it up. Check us out in Slack. The Slack channel has been amazing. I mean, you got guys talking about brisket and betting on lacrosse. What better place to connect with random dudes to talk serious Degen activities? And again, if you're in Las Vegas, June 14th, June 15th, we're going to be doing a Circle live stream from their stadium swim. If you're in the area, come by, say hi. Let's have a couple cocktails. Kramer.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
And just to confirm, if you do visit us in Vegas, Sean's guns will be out.
Kramer, let it ride.